Yo, what's good? It's your boy B-Dell. I am back with a definitive broadcast. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But today we're going to be talking about a compilation of books that I formulated to prepare you for the dimensional shift that's going to be taking place within the 7-year tribulation period that we're living in right now. So we're going to be talking about quantum physics, metaphysics, mind science, technology, genetical upgrades. We're going to be talking about theological context, and we're going to be talking about eschatology, which is the science of the end times that's connected to future prophecy. So first, we're going to start out with Els Holy Injiyl, which is basically a transliteration of the book of Revelation, because the King James Bible is a mistranslation of 1611 AD, right? So Els Holy Injiyl was written by Dr. York. So as you can see, it's an amalgamation of many different languages, right? So he translates it from the Greek translation, and he translates it from the Assyrian language. So this is a good publication right here if you want to understand what's going on the esoteric level. When you're talking about the end times that's connected to eschatology, this is the book to get right here, called Els Holy Injiyl. This is a transliteration of everything that's going on right now on the planet. It talks about the 7 seals. It talks about the 7 bowls. It talks about, everything that's going to be taking place as you have Nibiru terraforming the atmosphere back into a hydrogen-based planet, right? So it goes into the tablets of destiny in summer, and it talks about the paradise of Nibiru. It talks about many different things. So this is a publication to get when you're talking about the activation of the 144,000, as you have the hereafter on the planet, after the planet is in the state of desolation. So this is a good book to get right here, Els Holy Injiyl by Dr. York. Another good book to get is the Emerald Tablets, right? The Emerald Tablets is basically connected to the 7 Hermetic principles, right? Because the 7 Hermetic principles, reaps the benefits of natural alignment, reaps the benefits of balance, right? So I'm going to pull up the 7 Hermetic principles here in a second. So now when you look at the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and then you understand the esoteric principles of the Hermetic laws, you got mentalism with it, which is basically the universe is mental. Then you got the law of correspondence, as above, so below. Then you got the law of vibration, movement is constant. And then you have the law of polarity, because everything in the 3-dimensional paradigm works on polarity, which is a dualistic principle, because duality is not reality. So in order for you to reap the benefits to operate at 0 point energy, right, you have to understand that you're living in the illusion. And then you have the law of rhythm. Then you have the law of cause and effect. Then you have the law of gender. When you have the unification of the divine feminine and the divine masculine working in synergy with nature. So this is why I tell people all the time that, the brain and the frequency of the mind is the electrical power that gives power to your biological structure, right? And your soul is the navigation system on how to navigate in the 3-dimensional paradigm. So in order to operate in the principle of mastery, the heart and the mind must work in symbiotic connection, which is basically connected to a law of rhythm, right? Which puts you in a state of balance, because when you're in balance, you balance out your circadian rhythm that operates your biorhythm. So when they're both working in symbiotic connection, like I said, the law of polarity, that puts you in a state of alignment, because there's no evolution if there's no balance, right? So like I said, that book is also in alignment to the 7 Hermetic principles, because everything in the universe is mental. So like I said, your mind must be working in symbiotic connection with the heart chakra, which is also connected to the 7 energy cortexes in your endocrine system, right? When you're talking about the thymus gland. So your thymus gland is connected to the heart chakra. So your heart chakra must correspond with the heartbeat of the planet, which is the Schumann resonance. So this is why, a lot of people are falling out due to the fact that their vibration, right, the law of vibration, their vibration is not matching up with the Fibonacci sequence and the Schumann resonance of the planet. So that's, like I said, everything on this system has a polarity of cause and effect. What you do in the 3-dimensional paradigm is going to affect how you won't be able to reap the benefits of fourth and fifth dimensional ascension on the planet, right? So we got that. That's a good book to read. As I was saying, the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, right? Talks about a lot of things on the planet. Talks about the spaceborne. And this is a 89-page publication. So get that book, Emerald Tablets of Thoth. Now we're going to be talking about the money system, right? So when you want to understand, have an intuitive understanding about how the money works in this system, this is a book to get right here. It's called The Hidden History of Money and the New World Order, Usury of Secrets Revealed of the Last, right? So this is, I'm going to go to the table of contents. When you look at this stuff right here, it talks about many different things. Why do we need money? The US dollar and world enslavement. This is this book has a lot of, intrinsic information. If you want to understand the esoteric principles of money and what's going to be the future of money and how the system is going to collapse, right? So like I said, this book is called The Hidden History of Money and the New World Order, Usury, Secrets Revealed of the Last, right? So now I got a screenshot of this book because I want to show you guys something that's in this book. Yeah, here we go. Now, it says verbatim right here that the New World Order is a world that has a supranational authority to regulate commerce and industry, an international organization that could basically control the production and the consumption of oil and the international currency that will replace the dollar. So everything, this is why I said it works in symbiotic connection to everything that's going on right now. So now I'm going to show you this video. So like I said, this book is called The New World Order. Let me find it. It's written by James Alexander, The New World Order and the Hidden History of Money. But I'm going to show you because that's basically in alignment to this video I'm going to show you. Right? So this video is going to be showing you how they're taking the seal off in St. Louis. They took the seal off the Federal Reserve symbol seal. They took it off the building. Because like I said, this is the end of the money system, right? Because they want to merge humans with cybernetics, which creates this form of transhumanism. And the transhumanism aspect is connected to a concept where they want to turn people into biological robots to basically monitor their actions and their spending habits. That's based on a electrical currency. So they taking the seal off because, like I said, we on the brink of an economic crash, right? Because the Federal Reserve System is connected to the 14th Amendment, which is a fraudulent contract, right? And I'm going to show you something, again, that's connected to the book. So now, like I said, when you go to this publication here that's inside the book, it tells you verbatim that democracy in America ended over 100 years at the very latest. The 14th Amendment was ratified in a criminal way because, like I said, democracy is demonic rulership. Look at my last video when I was talking about how it's connected to the UFO religion called Raelianism, because Raelianism is basically a proxy for democratic rulership. Democracy is demonic rulership because it's connected to the seed of Enlil. So, like I said, the 14th Amendment was ratified in a criminal way, right? And Americans should read it. It is your bill of sale into slavery. Your bill of sale into slavery, which makes you a prisoner of war, right? That's why when you go into a courtroom, they have the scales of justice. It's unbalanced, right? Because there's no such thing as equality, right? There's no equality because they have to monetize off your ignorance of law. They have to monetize because you're a prisoner of war to their system. That's why they got the yellow tassel on the American flag when you go into a courtroom, right? So it talks about many different things, man. It talks about James Montgomery's research. It talks about before 1933, all contracts with the U.S. governments were payable in gold. So you haven't had a natural resource that was backed by the fiat currency system since 1934, right? That's because they're not allowed to use the gold because the gold belongs to the seeds of Inky, who are your real Native Americans, who are your so-called black people. But they stole our birthright. And another book to get is What is a Soul? I forgot to show you something that's connected to the money system. We're gonna get right back to this. There's another video that I'm gonna show you because I'm trying to put everything in alignment.
Thank you, man.
I'm trying to put everything in alignment to the fact that, you know, as you have the money system phasing out in real time, people need, you know, the certain books and publications to understand what's going on. So I'm going to show you this video.
Okay, and everybody's missing money. I'm also missing money over $1,300, and they're telling me to call customer service, and they keep hanging up on people. This another person here is also missing money. So we're trying to see what's going on. Money's missing today, and we need our money. And they're already telling us to call customer service, and customer service ain't doing nothing about it. So just a heads up, if anybody's experiencing this, please let us know because this is not right. I'm missing $1,400 from my account, and they're telling me that there's no way they can help us. This guy's missing money too. This other person is missing money too. And you missing money too? There you go. So this is not something that's just one person. This is everybody's happening to them. And this is crazy. This is very crazy. Yes, Bank of America decided to take people's money without their consent. And we're asking what's going on, and they're giving us a runaround. Everybody for the same thing, man. Same.
So like I said, man, it's time to wake up. You know, you having this veneration of fiat currency, talking about you want to buy land, you want to, you know, invest in properties, you want to invest in cryptocurrency. You know what I'm saying? Because these are artificial constructs that's controlled by the matrix system. And as you have the matrix system phasing out along with the patriarchal government, right, is going to be phased out by the law of natural law, which is connected to a matriarch. So that's why you have Donald Trump. He's going to be the new president of the republic, and his inauguration is going to be on March 4th. So there's no such thing as a democracy. When you used to be a kid, when you was in third grade, when you put your hand on your chest and you say the Pledge of Allegiance, it says, "To our pledge of allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic." It doesn't say to the democracy. There's no such thing as democracy. Democracy is based upon fraud, and the fraud is connected to the money system, and the money system is connected to the canon laws, and the canon laws was implemented by the Inquisition that's connected to the infrastructure system of the Vatican Church, right? And the Vatican Church is also connected to the 1724 Black Christian codes. So these are all forms of democratic rulership. So anytime you have a pastor or a police officer or a politician who's trying to drag you back into your straw man, that's connected to the illusion of the matrix system, right? So now we're going to get into this book called What is Soul or Spirit? Because, you know, there's a diametrical difference between souls and spirits on this planet. Everybody don't have a soul, right? Now, everybody has a spirit. And the reason I say that is because it's talking about 6 ether genetical properties and 9 ether genetical properties. So, like I said, the soul of the DEA, deoxyetheric acid, that is basically connected to the frequency of non-ether particles that connects you to the intrinsic solar radiation that's in the planet. So if your anatomy is not connected to the planet, you're going to be decimated, because 6 ether has the ability to dematerialize into nothingness. 9 ether dematerializes in a form of at an etheric state that connects you to the atomic fusion of the sun, right? So this is a good book right here when you're talking about genetical mutations and things of that nature. Because like I said, there's a diametrical difference between the soul and the spirit, right? And I'm going to show you that here in a second. Okay. Or did I put it in here? I don't think I got it. Yeah, there's a diametrical difference between the soul and the spirit, right? So this is why I said it tells you up here. Well, it tells you right here verbatim that all humans have 6 ether hair, just like animals on the planet. 9 ether is a symbol of an extraterrestrial being, right? The great majority of your melanated and brown people on the planet have 9 ether hair, because 9 ether is connected to the Fibonacci sequence of the planet, because everything in nature, when you understand vortex math and you understand sacred geometry, everything spirals in a 9. That's natural law, right? So that's because the inception of the planet was started by extraterrestrial beings who had 9 ether genetical properties. So that's how you know these extraterrestrial beings are highly melanated people. And it says that all animals and all humans on this planet have 6 ether hair. Now, 6 ether is connected to your East Indian and many other different races on the planet that has straight hair, right? And then 9 ether is connected to the metaphysical genes of so-called Black people. 8 ether is connected to your so-called Native Americans, who are basically also your so-called Black people, right? So like I said, that is basically the delineation between the hair follicles, because your hair follicle is an antenna to the universe, and it's basically a Wi-Fi signal to where you get downloads from the intrinsic solar radiation. So that's why when you go to the fourth dimension is the mental plane. So in order to reap the benefits of intrinsic knowledge and finite wisdom, right, you have to have the hair follicle that connects you to the intrinsic solar radiation in a form of magnetism. Everything on the planet reaps the benefits of vibration and magnetism, right? That activates the God particle within you. So that's connected to mind science technology. So get this book called What is a Spirit and What is a Soul by Dr. York. Now we're going to be talking about this book called Let's Talk About the End. This is also written by Dr. York. So this book talks about many different things that's going to be taking place within the 7-year tribulation period. It talks about Mother Nature will do her part. Earthquakes, tornadoes, floods, droughts. All this is happening in real time right now, right? So it talks about everything that's connected to the artificial construct of a patrilineal system doesn't work in symbiotic connection with a matrilineal system. Natural law, nature, must take back the planet because mankind destroyed the planet under patriarchy. Patriarchy is connected to democracy. So this is a good publication to get right here. Let's Talk About the End by Dr. York. And also that's connected to this video right here, which is, so I need y'all to watch this video and listen to everything she's saying closely.
And the planet's immunity weakened. While we have not even entered the peak of the cycle at this point, disasters and cataclysms are already escalating at an alarming rate. In this case, underground bunkers will not help, as they will simply melt because magma is ascending from below. And now, the key question of our report: how much time is left before the catastrophe of our cycle happens? Please take a look at the seismic activity graph again, please. You can clearly see the exponential growth and uncontrolled exponential increase in the number of earthquakes. This progression has a mathematical pattern. So having calculated it together with the best scientists, geologists, and analysts, we have modeled the progression in which earthquakes will accelerate in the future. And what we discovered was utterly terrifying. Why? Take a look for yourself. As you can see, the rate of increase in seismic activity is shocking. At each successive stage, the number of earthquakes in...
Notice it said 2026 right there. It says projection of earthquakes and volcanoes in 2026, right? Because like I said, the planet is speeding up in vibration. This kind of like when you have particle atoms, when you boil in water on your stove or whatever, you have, intrinsic, particle atoms speeding up in vibration. So when you have the, intrinsic heat, when you have the pot of boiling water, as you have the particles of atoms, they speed up in vibration, it can overspill. So the same thing is happening with the planet, right? Everything, when it overheats, that's why they had that heat wave in Europe last summer, right? When you had, I think it was about 5,000 Europeans, they passed out, and some of them, were decimated, right? Because their anatomy is not matching the solar radiation of the planet. Because by 2025, they say it could be, intrinsic solar radiation, sunlight, for at least 3/4 of the day, right? So that's going to speed up the planet's vibration. But I'm going to keep playing this video.
Activity is shocking. At each successive stage, the number of earthquakes increases 3 times as much. The more earthquakes will happen, the magnitude of them will increase more. And by 2028, there will be 1,000 destructive earthquakes a day on Earth, whereas in 2036, there will be over 1 million earthquakes a year. Just think about it, more than 1 million earthquakes a year. What is this, if not our end? Already in 2028, life will be almost unbearable. That's literally in 6 years. Just think.
So like I said, man, this is happening in real time. So it's time for people to wake up. So for you to have this, this concept of, oh, I want to get money. It's not about money. It's all about matching your vibration, reaping the benefits of your purpose, to where you can give people the knowledge and edification on how to heal themselves, to where they can reap the benefits of evolution and ascension on the planet. So these books and these publications that I'm giving out is basically connected to your mental and spiritual ascension on the planet, to get you out of the 3-dimensional metric system, right? And this book is a great book to get right here, called The Anunnaki Ultimatum, The End of Time, Autobiography and Explosive Revelations of a Human Anunnaki Hybrid, right? So this is a good publication to get right here. It talks about, everything in 2022, many different things that's going to happen in 2025 and 2026. Talks about a lot of stuff. It talks about, what does it say? The UFO extraterrestrials, big events, secrets from Phoenicia to the White House, from the Nibiru to Zetas, the Anunnaki to Sumner, and the Eisenhower Project, and CIA military abductees and mind control. It talks about many different things. So if you want to get this book right here, like I said, it's called The Anunnaki Ultimatum by Maximilian de Lafayette. This is a good publication to get. Now we're going to be talking about, this is called the non-ball knowledge, which is basically the liberation of information on how to ascend with the planet. So this is written by Dr. York. So it talks about, non-reason, non-knowledge, non-liberation, and non-ether, right? Because you must have the activation of sun heat genes, and those sun heat genes is what basically puts you in alignment of ascension. So this talks about, the inception points of what ether is and things of that nature. It's a real small publication, real easy to read. It talks about like I said, the diametrical difference between 6 ether and 9 ether. Talks about spiritual evolution, mental evolution, right? What was that? Yeah, alien education. It talks about many different things. How to economize after the planet is in a state of desolation. So that's a good book to read, called Non-Liberation, The Non-Ball Knowledge by Dr. York. Another good book to read is Are There UFOs in Your Midst? Because like I said, when you have that open vortex that's going to be opening up, some people say August 5th, some people say the open vortex is going to be in March 23rd after the spring equinox. So this is where you're going to see a lot of UFO activity in our atmosphere, right? So it talks about the inner workings of how UFOs are able to materialize and dematerialize, and going into many different forms of octave ethers. Talks about what type of crafts you should look at. Like this, now this is how you can have, the decipherment on what a UFO really looks like that's coming from different planets, or you could see a difference between a UFO, the one from the government and one that was from a different star system, to where you cannot be fooled by Project Bluebeam and things of that nature. So this is a good book to get. Like I said, it's called Are There UFOs, Extraterrestrials in Your Midst by Dr. York. Talks about Ashtar Command. Like I said, man, it talks about many different things, how he was, they created gene transplants and embryo implantation, genetical warfare. So I'm just going through the book. A lot of good information. Talks about, animal mutilations. So, these publications that I'm putting out is preparing you for everything that's going to be taking place within these 7 years that we're living in right now. Now, this is also a good book to get right here. There's only parts 1 and 2, but this is part 2 right here. It's called 666 Leviathan, the Beast as the Antichrist. So that's how Dr. York, when he put out this publication, you could tell he was channeling higher dimensional knowledge, because when you look at this right here in the middle of all the headed figures of the politicians and the world leaders, there's that guy looks like Donald Trump, basically. And then you got the Queen, then you have a Pope, and then you have many different world leaders on here, like I said, because that's connected to the beast system. So the book talks about the Canaanite bloodline. It talks about the galactic elders, the Riskians, who are the Anunnaki. Talks about many different things. Who are the Rothschilds? Who are the Jesuit priests? Right. So, like I said, this is a great book to get when you want to have an intuitive understanding about eschatology. This is the science of the end times. Talks about, the inception point and the fall of Tarnush, who is your so-called Satan. So yes, get this book right here. Leviathan 666, The Beast as the Antichrist, Part 2 by Dr. York. So that's it for that one. Then it's another book called Shambhala and Agartha, The Cities Within the Earth. Now, the reason this is a very important publication because they just put out this today. We're going to go back to that book here in a second. If I can find the... No, it's not on that. They just put out this book. They just put out this publication earlier today. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Now it says the Earth's core has stopped and may reverse direction. That's because we're going through a pole shift. So when you're talking about the Earth's core, you're talking about a 600-mile diameter sun inside the planet that's connected to the Rainbow City and the city of Shambhala and Agartha that's inside the planet. Because time doesn't exist inside the planet, so everything that's connected to the inside of the planet through the law of correspondence affects everything on the surface of the planet. So when the planet, the orbitation process of the core inside the planet, when it stops, right? When it basically stops and it creates a reversal of pole shifts, what happens is everything reaps the benefits on the surface as intrinsic magnetism, which basically terraforms the atmosphere that we're living in right now. So like I said, this is the surprising finding might solve long-standing mysteries about climate and geological phenomenon. So with that being said, they're basically putting it out in the public domain that many different things is going to be taking place because of that process. Because in school, they told you, you know what I'm saying? In school, they told you, oh, it's just a core of the planet. You got the Earth's crust and things of that nature. But they don't want to tell you that you have the city of Shambhala and Agartha are basically cities within the Earth, because when you go inside the planet, intelligent life lives on the inside. It doesn't live on the surface. And this book talks about many different cave systems. It talks about the black sun, right? This is the illustration right here. When you look at the left, talks about the inner circle, right? The inner sun, the black sun, which is also connected to the swastika symbol that came from Ethiopia. Like I said, Agartha, which means Agartha, which means through the hole. And then you have the Golden Palace, which is Wahalala. And then you got the city of Shambhala, which is the scent of Allah. And then you have many different cities inside the planet, the Crystal City and things of that nature. So this is a good book to get. Talks about all the extraterrestrials inside the planet. These are the extraterrestrial beings. You got the Dayros, then you have the Teros, right? Who are basically the descendants of the Shiuk. Then you got the Dawanese, right? So then you got the Hollow Earth map right here. You know, you got many different caverns on the planet that leads you to this this utopian geographical landmass, right? So these are the books to basically prepare you for everything that's going to be taking place. So that way you'll be able to combat everything on the planet, you know, the illusion that they're trying to throw at you through the Hegelian dialectic principle, to where you're not fooled upon the things in a system, right? So that's like I said, this is why, you know, this is why you're going to have things like this. You're going to have the falling away. A third of Americans have stopped going to church altogether. That's because, like I said, the more you have this knowledge coming out, it's going to decimate the political system. It's going to decimate religion. It's going to decimate anything that's connected to their system, because their system must crash. So this is why, like I said, when I put out that last video talking about the UFO religion, because they have to have something that's conducive to the timeline that we're living in. So they're going to implement a UFO religion that draws you right back into a form of democratic rulership, right? Because democratic rulership basically connects the church and the state together, right? So like I said, they gotta have an explanation for stuff like this, because they can't hide it no more, because you got the portal opening up, then you have, you know, dimensional shifts that's taking place, you having a pole reversal. Everything on the planet right now is reaping the benefits of future prophecy. So with that being said, please write all those publications down, and I will put the descriptions of the books that I put out inside the comment box and things of that nature. Hold on, I think I got one more thing to show you guys. I think that was it. Let's see. So we got Els Holy Injiyl. You got the transliteration of Els Holy Injiyl, which is a transliteration of the Book of Revelations. Then you got Non-Ball. Then you got Our UFOs in Our Midst. Then you got the City of Shambhala and Argartha. Then you have Leviathan 666, The Beast as the Antichrist by Dr. York. The great majority of these publications that I told you guys about are written by Dr. York. So all those books, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to put it in the description at the bottom. And the great majority of these books, you can find them online. If you're not able to find them online, that's because they put an encryption on that link to where they don't want people to read it. So like I said, there's another book. I think Holy Tablets is a good book to read by Dr. York if you want to have an intuitive understanding about the inception point and the ending of the planet. So with all that being said, thanks for watching this video. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out many different publications for you guys to read that's conducive to the timeline that we're living in. So I'm going to put them out in an incremental period. So this is going to be the first quarter of books that I'm putting out, and then we're going to have a second quarter, a third quarter, and a fourth quarter. And it's basically going to prepare you for the times that we're living in right now in present day future prophetic events. So with all that being said, thanks for watching. Get this video out there, and I'll be back with another one very soon in the transmission.